Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. There was a really terrific Welsh derby for the British lightweight title between Gavin Gwynne and Craig Woodruff. Really terrific fight. I mean, so close. I had it 115, 113 to Woodruff. It was actually a majority draw. No surprise at all that they decided on a draw. No surprise at all. The styles. Well, let's talk about the fighters individually first of all. Woodruff was a challenger. He came in with a 12-6 record, 4 KOs, four KOs as wins, and in terms of defeats, he'd only been stopped once. He'd been matched very, very tough throughout his career. He fought Luke Campbell in 2014, lost over 6 rounds. He'd fought Martin J. Ward and got stopped in 4. Mitch Buckland, he lost to him. Those were 3 defeats in a row back in 2013, 2014. So we're talking, you're talking a guy who's thrown in at the deep end, and then he put together, some decent wins. He did lose to Gary Cully in 2020, but 12-6 record, not very flattering statistics. He's much, much better than that, and he has a very languid style, hands low. I mean, really low. Slipping and sliding at times during this fight. You looked at him and you thought, this guy thinks he's a second coming of Harold Graham, and yet, in sections of the fight, he was actually, even though he was keeping it long and slipping and sliding and popping Gwynne with some, deceptively hard punches, because he hasn't got many KOs, but he was having Gwynne on the end of that jab, and sort of pot shotting, but didn't really have heavy hands, didn't really trouble Gwynne at any point. Gwynne had the heavier hands. Was landing individual punches, much more conventional style, was landing individual hard punches, maybe 1-2s as well. But if you look at Gwynne, the champion, he was, I think he had a 15-2 record coming in, only 3 KOs, so not much. Even though he had the heavier hands, or it looked like he had the heavier hands, hasn't got a big KO percentage. 2 defeats, was stopped in 6 by James Tennyson back in 2020, and lost on points to Joe Cordina in 2019. So, these two guys are good examples of people who, of fighters to whom defeats don't really mean much. They're learning experiences. Especially Gwynne. Especially Woodruff, who's got 6 losses, and he boxed like a guy who was, at times he looked like the champion, and it was Gwynne who looked like the challenger. But it was a majority draw. Like I say, Gwynne had the more conventional style, appeared to be throwing the more what looked like hurtful punches, although to be honest, he didn't really sting Woodruff at all, really. And Woodruff was kind of slipping and sliding and pinching some of the rounds. But some of these rounds were so incredibly difficult to score. It was the old cliche, what do you like? Do you like the conventional come forward, I suppose the more sort of, conventional is the word, I suppose, the more conventional style, the more textbook punching, or do you like Craig Woodruff's flashy, sort of quick feet, fleet of foot, slipping and sliding, lots of pot shotting? Do you like that? Well, I found myself sort of flitting between the 2 styles and thinking, well, who do I give this round to? It was very, very difficult. This was a draw, and usually with draws, you say there's got to be a rematch. There definitely has to be a rematch of this fight. They were both impressive. Their stock rose, for both of them, especially Woodruff. With that unflattering record, he's clearly much, much better than his record suggests. For Gwynne, he won the title in his last fight against Luke Willis. That was a unanimous decision, and he come from behind in that as well. And I had him behind in this fight. I think at one point I had Woodruff, 5-3 up, and then Gwynne evened it up for me over the next 2 rounds, made it 5 each in rounds. But I gave the last 2 rounds to Woodruff. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm emphasising there really wasn't much in it at all. Not much at all. You could have given either of those rounds, maybe to Gwynne, I don't know. But this is a surefire rematch in the making. It's got to be. And again, for the British title. Normally, if there's such a close fight and, say it's a draw, it's a very close fight, I always think, well, and if I've been scoring it and I find it difficult to score the rounds, I think to myself, who at the end of the fight, I think, who would I rather be? You know, while waiting for the decision, which fighter would I rather be? And probably I would rather have been Craig Woodruff, which indicates that he overall, over the 12 rounds, if you take it as one long round, I thought maybe Woodruff, you know, sort of almost pinched his way to a win. That sounds like I'm being a little bit insulting towards him, because he was tough, and he was doing some good infighting in the closing rounds and kind of matching Gwynne, because the thought before the fight was that Gwynne was going to be the guy down the stretch who'd put his foot on the gas and win those rounds. The first half maybe Woodruff's, but the second half would definitely be Gwynne's. I thought Woodruff probably gave as much as he took overall in those 6 rounds, and to me that edged him the fight. But I keep repeating it, but it was such a close fight. Good British title fight tussle. You know, these British title fights very often produce, you know, these terrific trade fights, and this was no exception. It was on Channel 5. It was a Wasserman fight. I don't know if you'll be able to have a look at it. They might post it on YouTube or Daily Motion, but have a look if you get a chance. It's a good solid 36 minutes of entertainment. So yeah, leave your comments below. If you see the fight and you've got any comments, leave them below. Thanks as always for listening in, for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Plenty more boxing to come today. Headlined, of course, the big daddy of them all is going to be the Canelo GGG 3 fight. So looking forward to that one. But there's some more good British stuff as well coming up today as well. So have a look. Keep out for the future videos. Like, subscribe. Thank you very much. Keep punching. We'll speak again soon. Bye for now.